You asked me to try to figure out where this video was recorded, so I did. Hi, I'm Jose Monkey, and I find people who ask to be found. Okay, so the first thing I need to point out is that when the person tagged me in this video, they recognized that their GPS coordinates were visible in the video, and they asked me not to use the GPS coordinates to find this. Guys, I promise I did not use the GPS coordinates to find this. Scout's honor. Is that how you do that? I don't know. I was never a Boy Scout. So what can we see? This video is a little frustrating because every time I thought I was just about to see a clue that would help me find this, something would either get in the way, usually this big truck, or it was just too blurry to read. The first thing I noticed was this building on the left. There were some signs and banners here, but I couldn't really read what any of them said. I thought this one sign might say Liquors on it, but I wasn't really sure. You can very briefly see a sign on this fence on the right, but then the truck gets in the way. I could see that there was what looked like a Ford dealer coming up on the right, but again, the truck got in the way before I could see it more closely. I could see what looked like a vacant building on the left, followed by a sign that says United. We get just the briefest look at these interstate signs here before the truck gets in the way again, but I'll get back to those in a moment. Then you go through these traffic lights here and over a highway, which I assume is the interstate that we saw the signs for. There were some signs facing in the opposite direction, and I was really hoping that maybe I'd catch a glimpse of them in your mirror, but I was not that lucky. Finally, I noticed this big tree on the right near the end of the video. Okay, so clearly I had to figure out what interstate that was. I squinted at the handful of frames from the video where we could see those signs, and I was having trouble deciding if it said I-40 or I-45. And the difference between those two roads is huge. I-45 is a pretty big highway. It runs for about 285 miles entirely within Texas, but I-40 is significantly longer. I-40 is a major transcontinental highway across the United States. It's over 2,500 miles long, which makes it the third longest interstate in the country. I-90 and I-80 are longer. So I really needed to figure out if it was I-40 or I-45. So I looked at it some more, and I was pretty sure it was I-40. I-40 runs through 8 states. From west to east, they are California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Okay, so I needed to find some way to narrow this down. I decided that this did not look very much like California, Arizona, or New Mexico, so I ruled those out right away. Perhaps that was a bad assumption, but it's what I did. I also decided that this looked more like North Carolina, Tennessee to me, so I figured I'd start from the east and work my way west. But what would I even look for? The only other thing I knew with certainty is that we had a Ford dealer that was rather close to the interstate. So I went to Google Maps and I searched for Ford dealers near I-40, and it showed me this nightmare of a map. So guys, I just started in North Carolina and zoomed in on I-40 and kept looking at Ford dealers as I encountered them. And for each one, I would zoom in and look at it and see how close it was to I-40. And if it wasn't very close, I would rule it out. And if it was close, I would look at the other details to try to confirm it. Okay, so what details? I knew that the dealer should be on the right-hand side as I approached I-40, so that had to match. And the road that crossed I-40 needed to go over it and not under it. That may not sound like very much, but it helped me rule out several locations right away. After about 45 minutes or so, I was starting to worry that it was going to take a very long time to find this place. But I trusted that my approach was solid and that I would find it eventually if I was patient. Eventually, I found Paramount Ford. The layout on the map looked right, so it was time to go to Google Street View to see if it matched. And it did. You're heading southwest on Malcolm Boulevard in Connolly Springs, North Carolina. I could see all of our landmarks. We had the building on the left, which I learned was for Rhino Liners, not liquors. I could see that vacant building on the left, and I could also see the Ford dealer on the right. The intersection looked right, and I could see that big old tree from the end of your video. Please like and share if you enjoyed this video, and if anybody else would like me to figure out where one of their videos was recorded, tag me in a comment on that video.